I mean, the project itself is because of the regulation changes, is far bigger than recent time car development projects. So in itself, the most challenging and interesting parts have been the aero concept, trying to future-proof that and make sure we've got a good canvas to develop the car. The revised safety and crash regulations have been challenging, trying to find efficient solutions there. And just putting it all together to get a car concept which clearly everyone wants to get the car in the right direction and has good scope for development. So those points have been the main elements we've been focused on. So the new aero regulations have presented a challenge to all of the teams. It's a very interesting exercise. The concept of the car is significantly different with the new regulations. All the teams would have been working quite hard on this in 2020, but then with the pandemic, the decision was taken to delay the introduction of these new regulations from 2021 to 2022, which meant at a certain point we were required to stop aerodynamic development. The FIA demanded this in the period, so every team had to stop. And in that period, we actually changed our wind tunnel facility from our 50% facility in Bicester to a 60% facility in Bedford. And that meant that when we restarted our aero testing for the 2022 car in January 2021, we were in a new facility. This is an added variable for us in as much as we'd done a bit of work in the background at 50%, and then we're starting again after a period of time of layoff at 60%. It was important to make this jump to the new facility, but it is an added variable in our aero development process. Having said that, the rate of development we're reasonably satisfied with. The car's responded well in the wind tunnel. We won't know until we hit the ground exactly where we are, but from the work we've put in ourselves, we think we found some good development direction. So hopefully that puts us in a good position for the season. I mean, from an engineering perspective, it's the first time the car runs on track. So it's important to take system checks, look at the basic various systems and software on the car, check it's working, bug checking, just the basics to know that everything's is doing what it's meant to do, it's basic data collecting, and it's all very useful ahead of the main test where we start to focus on more complex topics and longer running and performance. Honestly, it's really difficult to say where we're going to be. I mean, we've followed our development process. Every team will have done that. The rate at which the concept aerodynamically and in the DO has developed has been sensible and in line with expectation. But in all honesty, it'd be very hard to predict at this stage where we want to be. You know, we place ourselves as a midfield team. That's where we want to be operating, and we're working towards that. But the size of the regulation change, it's very hard to predict exactly how it's going to pan out at the start of the season. And then we're into a development race, which will be very strong at the start of the year when everyone sees each other's cars. Regarding our driver situation for 2022, it's really pleasing to be able to say that both drivers are continuing with us. That's good for engineering, it's good for the drivers, and it's good to be familiar at the start of what is going to be a very complex process with a new car. It'll be a very different environment for the drivers in some respects. Also, what's positive is Pierre had a very strong season in 2022, his best season ever, very consistent, working well with his engineers and really being a fantastic team player. Yuki, as a rookie, had a more variable season, started off with some positive signs and went into a bit of a period where he was struggling more than he expected and we expected, but this is also something which can happen. But pleasingly, he's ended the season in Abu Dhabi in a very positive way. 3 good solid days at the GP, culminating in a 4th place finish, which was fantastic. So we ended the season in the right place with him, and we're confident, and I know he's confident, that he can continue that form and benefit from that learning process, take that into 2022, and both drivers should hit the ground running and really be able to contribute on a high level and help us achieve our objectives for the season.